Hey, it's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and just going to do a very quick update. It's been quite an epic month and we've still got a good 10 days to go. And I thought I'm just going to start with the most recent, and then I'll just see the order and sequence in which I put the visuals in. But the big news of the day is that I was featured again in Forbes magazine. So that came out yesterday. It was a piece on race and racism. So I'm really excited to see the conversation being continued in a what I would say a productive way, in terms of looking at, okay, how can we move beyond all of this? So if you're watching this in real time, the link for the Forbes article is on my page. You might have to just scroll down a couple of posts, and I know several people have shared it as well, so it may also be on your timeline. So really excited about that. That is always fantastic. And what I thought I would do today is basically give you a roundup of everything that's been going on, because there has been a lot and it's easy to miss this stuff. And I like to do a roundup for my e-newsletter list, so I can then put this video in and people can see the bits and pieces that they've missed. So I'm just going to start where I am. Yes, so we had the book launches. So two of the books arrived this month. One of them is actually, they're here in their respective envelopes. So the first one that I did is called Running a Business in Times of Crisis. And with this one, I've written a chapter on, I like the title that I came up with. Let me just find that for you. It's the art and the science of it all. So the art and science of working from home, because there really is an art and a science to it. It's not just as simple as going, I'm at home, here's my work. I think many people have found that out during lockdown. So that's that one. And it's a paperback. This one isn't available as a Kindle as far as I know. And then we have Unlocked. And this one is From Surviving to Thriving, 10 acclaimed experts, of which I am one, share their advice for adapting to life after a crisis. So fantastic. So that's the two books that have been launched. And this one I've written a chapter on remote working, and shared some of my favorite tips and strategies, etc. So this one is available in paperback, and it's also available as a Kindle. And what was really lovely and exciting about this one, when it came out, it went into the top 10. The last time we looked, it was at number 8. Haven't looked since then, but it was really lovely for it to arrive on the scene and go straight into the Amazon top 10. So that was wonderful. So that's that. So, and what I'm going to do, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will add a link to everything I'm talking about underneath the video. So that's the first thing. Let's see what is next on the list. Yes, I've had some really interesting chats and discussions about race and racism. So this was the Tough Talk interview series. This also launched yesterday. So it is now available on YouTube. And we were discussing race, racism, police brutality, and gangs. So that was another fascinating conversation. And again, if you search my page, you probably have to scroll a little bit further for this one if you're watching in real time, but the link to that is there as well. So that's the kind of Tough Talk interview series where I was just I had no idea what the questions were going to be. And some of them did require a bit of, let's take a breath and let's think about this one. But it was really, really, really fun to do. I absolutely loved it and enjoyed it. So that is also now live. What have we got next? Yes, this one. I've been banging on about this one for about 6 weeks, for those of you who are on my e-newsletter list. If you are familiar with, let's say, ClickFunnels, for example, if you know what a funnel is, then you will know how those systems work. And so this is one that was, it's been in pre-launch for several weeks now. So I signed up probably about 6-8 weeks ago, something like that, to do some beta testing and give feedback, etc. But the official, well, I say the soft launch, the first of the launch series was this week. And the way that it works is, well, I'm telling you, it's just, You know, when you sometimes you buy a product, then you've got to sit and try and figure it all out yourself. Now, if you're not familiar with funnels and sales pages and lead pages and all that sort of stuff, it can be overwhelming. These guys are fantastic. And Jesse, who you can see a couple of times on the screen, he's the one wearing the white t-shirt. I know it's a little bit small. One of the things that got my attention about this, because I was around when Brendan Burchard hit the scene and was just everywhere and basically cleaning up. And Jesse Dubeck is the man who put those funnels together. And Jesse is the one who does the free coaching, the free training every single week. In fact, it's Saturday today, isn't it? Yeah. So I think there's going to be one today. But they're doing the trainings twice a week. They're live. You can ask anything you like. Some of you also, I can never her surname and also how she pronounced it, but Sonia Choquette, but look it up. But I've seen her funnels, and what I didn't know is that Jessie had built her funnels as well, and just amazing. And one of the things I really like about this platform is it's a lifetime deal. So rather than the monthly recurring fees that you typically have when you purchase a funnel building system, so whether or not you're using it every single month, that's a problem I had with the one that I signed up for. There are times I just wasn't using it because I was doing other things or had things housed on other platforms. You're still racking up a bill and paying every month. So with this one, they're offering a lifetime deal. Actually, I wonder if I'll see if I've got the slide there, because their deal, it's just crazy. Oh yeah, here it is. I'll show you in a second. So they're doing a lifetime deal. So the launch was this week. I know for those of you on my e-newsletter, I sent you out the list to invite you to the free webinar. I don't know how many of you were able to come along. Absolutely fantastic. So really, really excited about this one. I know you can't read it properly, but that circle is everything that's included in the deal. And you pay once, you use the system forever, plus all of the updates. But let me show you the deal that they put together the other day. This is how much it costs to get started. $1. $1. So you can sign up for $1. You've got 14 days to play with it, test it out, see what it's all about. That's going to give you time to actually do 4 of the live coaching calls as well. So you can ask any questions about how to use it, how to get started. And that's $1. And then after that, if you decide you like it, you can then just pay the one-off fee, or they've done it where I think they split it into 3 payments if you wanted to do a 3-pay plan. So that's that one. I will put an invitation link in as well. Oh yeah, now this was interesting, so timely. And I've just been sent the download recordings. It's going to be syndicated out in the United States in a couple of months' time. So I haven't decided yet if I just leave it and wait for the syndication to happen, or if I maybe share the videos with my e-newsletter list. I'm undecided, but I downloaded the replays this morning, actually. And I was speaking at the Global Hope Conference. So it's an online conference out in the United States. Of course, it was online because we're all in lockdown. And I did one of the presentations I delivered, which I'd pitched months ago, was how to resolve the seemingly unresolvable. And the whole thing centered around conflict between gangs and the police and local residents. So when the conference time actually came around, it's exactly what's happening in the world now, kicked off in Minneapolis. And of course, the ripple effect of that has been felt across the globe. So very timely presentation, even though at the time I pitched the idea, none of this stuff was happening. And they sent out the certificates this week, which is really fantastic. So I'll keep you posted in terms of what I intend to do with the replay of that session. This was mainly for a group of lawyers who specialize in mediation and negotiation. And so I was then kind of sharing with them how I resolved that whole volatile situation in just 4 hours. And this was bringing together the police, the gangs, and the residents for the first time ever. They had all been at war on a council estate in London. And the local authority were like, we don't know what to do. And someone who had been on one of my leadership development courses, apparently in the meeting said, I think we should call Marilyn. So I just get this random call. They explain the situation. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I immediately had a vision of how it was going to play out. And that is exactly what happened. But it got to the stage where even the police were saying, we don't really want to come. And if we come, we're not coming inside of the building. And it went from that to the end result, where the way I phrased it was everyone would be breaking bread together. So that's a whole story, but that's the presentation that I spoke about there. Hi, Lynn Marie, how are you? Oh, I was just talking about Minnesota and Minneapolis, so that is very timely. Welcome. And so, yeah, so that was, I would say it's one of those synchronicity, divine timing things where the presentation landed at just the right time. I delivered a second paper, and that was on dealing with conflict and stress resolution. So I took them through the waking meditation and also took them through a bit of Huna. Wasn't sure how that would go down with a group of lawyers and professors, but they absolutely loved it. So I've got the replay for that one now as well. Yeah, I've actually spent a bit of time in Australia this month also, of course, virtually, doing coaching sessions. And it's just ironic that in the heat of the middle of lockdown, and of course it's easing a bit now, but the sessions I've been doing most regularly are halfway across the world. So that has been really fantastic as well. I think we've had Australia, we've had New Zealand, we've had Canada, Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic to be traveling the globe. Of course, it's lovely to be there in person, but to do so virtually is fabulous as well. And for those of you who are doing the online, because she's one of my transformation program clients, the quote you can see there, well, you might be able to see it might be a bit small if you're on a device. It says, "Thank you for your wisdom, vast array of knowledge, and your ability to facilitate the right process for the right time, bracket synchronicity, and tailored to the clients." That's from Roxanne out in Australia. And one of the crazy things that's happening with Roxanne, there are times I can't, like, when I finish, we're doing a transformation program. So it's kind of it's ongoing. We're doing something every week or every other week, but pretty much every week. So I get to the end of a session. Once we finish, I think, okay, what have we done? Where are we at? What do I want to do next session? And I often just make a little note, and of course I'll check that when the session comes, because transformation is happening in that intervening window. There are other times where I'm like, I've got no idea what we're going to do. So I come down the morning, sit here, and our sessions are normally at 11 a.m. my time, which is 8 p.m. out in Australia. And I'm sat there, blank piece of paper, okay, what am I going to do today? We're starting in like 5 minutes, and I write something down. I'm not kidding you. Every single time I say, "Hey, Roxanne, where are we at? What's been happening? Da 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 da. What are we focusing on today?" She says exactly the same thing. And it's really handy that I've written it down, because if somebody says something, you go, "Oh yeah, I was going to say that," you're like, "Yeah, right, whatever." But I've always got it written down. So I just go, hold on. I pick up my my trusted black and red notebook, and I hold it up to the camera, and I show her what I've written, and it's spot on every single time, and pretty much exactly the way she says it. So for one of them, I said, "Oh, I think we need to look at genealogy and the ancestors." She rocks up and says, "I think we need to look at my ancestors and my family genealogical line." I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. So that's been fantastic, doing all the transatlantic stuff. Oh yes, now a little bit into the future. Wednesday, so this coming Wednesday, it's the Watford Wellness event. Now, the Watford Wellness event is an event that is for businesses in and around Watford, in association with the Watford and Herts Chamber of Commerce and the Watford Chaplaincy. And normally what happens is, when working our way around venues around Watford, so some of the bars, some of the cafes. So number one, we bring some patronage to them. Number two, people who maybe haven't frequented them will get to know the town a bit better. And we offer basically a surgery. So I'm one of the coaches and consultants, and it's speed networking, where each of the practitioners we're at a table, so we stay static and the businesses move around after a set amount of time. Now, of course, that's been happening online. So what they've done is they've opened it up to everyone. So you don't need to be in Watford, and you can be a business, you can be a practitioner. So if you would like to join us, that is at 5 p.m. Yeah, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Wednesday. That takes place via Zoom, and there's always a guest speaker. We've got 2 guest speakers this month, so I'll put the link in for that as well. So that's coming up. What else have we got? Oh yeah, this one blew my mind. Will I say that one? Let me think. I'm just having a look-see to what I've got queued up here. Oh, actually, this one has been interesting. I've done a few of these. 1, 2, 3. I think I've done 3 interviews in the past week about race, racism, experiences of racism. So this was one with Nick James. There were 5 of us on the panel. We can't see Shah Wasmond in the picture because she hadn't made it yet. She was on another call. But yeah, if you haven't seen the replay yet, it's on my page. You'll have to scroll even further for that one. But it's on Nick's page as well. So Nick is from Expert Empires. So that was a really fascinating discussion. Had some great feedback about that as well. So, and it is it can be a tricky subject for people even to approach and address and think about. And sometimes people are embarrassed and don't even want to ask the questions. And that's where it started for Nick. He said, I don't even know where to start. But he had contacted me a few days before and says, can we have a chat? So we did a FaceTime for about an hour or so. And he said, these are questions I've sometimes thought about, but never really felt comfortable asking. And then we all got on the panel and talked about our experiences. So if you're doing some learning on this subject particularly, and you want to hear some viewpoints and perspectives, because we all think very differently, and you'll find that if you've watched it, you'll know that already. But I definitely recommend, giving that one a watch if you've got a bit of time. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Thank you. Kelly says, congratulations. Hey, Sonia. Sonia says, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been quite a week. Now, I had some weird stuff. This was weird. So I'm doing a soul plan reading for a client this week. And before the session, I decided, I was flicking through my notes and was looking for something. And I thought, what's my soul destiny again? I think it's 12-3. So I look up the 12-3. And what had happened a few days before is I was speaking to Rachel CK. And Rachel had said she'd read my blog about race and racism and was looking through the resources blog that I put together, which is a series of videos and links and a really fantastic Dropbox research, a research compendium as well. And she said something like, thank you for being the light and illuminating this subject. So I then jokingly said, what next time somebody says, Marilyn, what do you do? I'm going to say I'm a lighthouse. And she says, but you're lighting the way home. So we have a bit of a laugh about that. I then sit down and I look at the description for my soul destiny. It basically is describing a lighthouse, and people always say when they go through the thing where we take them through their soul plan report, because you get it as an email, as a PDF file once you've booked a session, they always say it is like seeing my life laid out on 5 sheets of paper. It's just jaw-dropping. And I did another one of those yesterday, had exactly the same thing, where I'll go through what the symbols mean, and I say, how does that resonate? And people just like, spot on. So I had that experience myself. I think I might have here. Is it here? Yes, it is. So this is part of what it said for my soul destiny, having had just been joking with Rachel. It says you bring in and radiate an unconditionally loving presence. Now, I didn't put the whole paragraph in because it's quite long, but when you read it, if you could actually say it's describing a lighthouse in terms of the way it's written. So that was just mind-blowing. And also what I wanted to say, because a couple of people were asking me, the soul plan sessions, even before lockdown, I was doing them online anyway. So I do them by telephone, by Skype, I did Facebook Messenger, FaceTime yesterday, and I've got an online meeting room as well. But somebody was asking about the gift voucher thing. So yes, the soul plan readings are £130. However, if you purchase one of the £90 gift vouchers, you can do a soul plan session. There's nothing else you need to pay. And it's the same if you're doing a 1-hour session, which is £150, and you've purchased the gift voucher, which is £90. I think I've got it here somewhere, actually. Let me see if I can find that one for you. Oh, there we go. So if you purchase the gift voucher, even though you've only paid £90, that is still a full 1-hour session. So that might be a tarot reading, it might be a soul plan reading, it might be a Huna and Access Consciousness session, or you could be even putting it towards the photo reading workshop, and it will be the face value of the voucher as opposed to what you paid for the voucher. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any other questions, let me know. So yes, if you purchased a £90 gift voucher, you can do a soul plan reading with your voucher. Just wanted to make that one clear, because I've had a couple of questions. Actually, while we're on the subject of that, for my birthday, because I had a lockdown birthday, so it was my 52nd birthday. So what I decided to do for people on my e-newsletter list is I did a 52% off my online workshops. And these are 1-day workshops. There's a couple of audio coaching programs in there as well, but that is ending. This is really the final week. That's ending next week. Actually, let me tell you, because somebody has said what courses are included. That is a very good question. Let me pull this up. Do it here rather than on my screen, so I'm not having to do the, you know, looking beyond round the camera. Right, okay. Now the promo code, if you use the link that's there, so transformationstm.com, newzenler, newzenler.com, it will land you on this page. Depending on, because I've got some dedicated links where the discount has already been worked out, and what you'll see, a bit like you can see on the screen if you can make it out, there's a strike through and it's in red. If that's not there, then what you need to do when you're purchasing is you enter the coupon code, the promo code. So on the page I'm looking at, it, because it's just the regular page, I can't tell. Right, I can tell you what's definitely not included. The 3-day photo reading workshop is not included. That's got an entirely different cost base for everything else that I run, but it's included on the 1-day money breakthrough video webinar workshop. It's included in the 1-day Mind, Body, Spirit Energy Fest video webinar workshop. It's included in, actually no, the archetypal journey intro, that's free anyway. The 1-day introduction to Huna and Ho'oponopono, it's included in that. The 1-day video webinar Fearless Public Speaking Workshop, it's included in that. The 1-day Practitioner Insider Secrets video webinar workshop, it's 52% off that. The Healing Heartbreak, now this is an e-coaching program. I ran it as an audio program when I did it live, it's included in that. And the Money Breakthrough e-coaching course, the 52% applies to that. So I think pretty much, but what I've been saying to people is the code is birthday 52. So birthday and the number 52. Enter the code. If it works, then it's applied to that. If it doesn't work, it's one that I haven't applied it to. But those are the courses. So you've got a couple more days if you wanted to take advantage of the 52% off, and you have then lifetime access to that, so you can decide when you want to watch it. Right, so that's that. What's next on my stack that I can see? Oh yes. So I've done, actually, let me show you this one first, and then so this is what so what I've done. So there's a PDF version, there's a flip book version, which you can either look at on a tablet or you can look at it on your iPhone. So I've actually put together a resume, an online resume. And a lovely friend and client asked a couple of weeks ago, she said, what can I do to help you? And normally I'm the one in the helping position, doing the helping and the sorting out. So it's like a bit of a curveball. I'm like, ah! And then I've been thinking about that. And one of the ways that people can help in the current climate, there's a lot going on. So if you know an organization, you might work for an organization, or you know of an organization, or you see a company that is looking and says, we are looking for, if you know anyone who's looking for someone to come in and do training, of course, at the moment that will be virtual, and I've been running online events for the last 15 years now, so since 2005. So they can be online, of course, when lockdown is over, in person, on site. But if you're looking for someone who's doing training on remote and flexible working and how to transition into the new normal, that's something I've been doing since 2003, working as a flexible working implementation consultant. If you're looking for someone who still wants to do leadership development training for their staff, I've also been doing that for the past 17 years. If you're looking for someone to do diversity awareness and what I call resolution training, I've also been doing that for the past 17 years and all the mediation work. And of course, if anyone's looking for executive coaching, if you're thinking about the well-being of your staff in terms of their emotional and physical and mental well-being, then get in touch. All of the above and so much more. And because there's such a lot, that's why I put the online resume together. So, you know, drop me an email, marilyn@transformationstm.com, TRANCE, F for Freddie, FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark.com. So marilyn@transformationstm.com. Feel free to make an introduction. Or if it's kind of an open thing, just ping me a link. If we're already connected on Facebook, you can, of course, DM me as well. That will be fantastic. So that's that. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, now that was pretty cool as well. Hold on. Let me just see what that one is. Oh, yeah. In amongst all of this, because people, you know, in terms of, I had to make a decision. I think like many people, well, not many, everybody wouldn't have made the same decision, but I know I had to make it for myself. I knew when lockdown hit and I started to see the implications of that, it was going to be a choice of I could get fatter or I could get fitter during lockdown. I went for the fitter. And so in amongst it all, I have, so this morning, for instance, I did a ballet class. I've got a ballet stretch class tomorrow. And so it's been kind of fun doing all of that online, because of course when lockdown hit, they inevitably emailed us and said, right, classes are cancelled. So I emailed back straight away and said, have you thought about doing the classes online via video? And then 2 weeks later, ta-da, a schedule came out where they had about 15 courses online, pretty much everything, which has been fantastic. So I would say, even though we're talking about quite a lot here, I would definitely just want to throw in a little reminder to make sure that you add whatever your thing is, either for your physical health and well-being or your mental health and well-being, because I think that is major important, even more so when many people are still in isolation. So just a little reminder about that one and the importance of that one. Let's see, what else have we got? Yeah, I think we're going to save the lockdown love, because I might share a couple of her slides with you there. So let me just have a look, see at what else has been going on. Oh yeah, now, okay, we need a drink for this one. What I'm going to say about this one, it has been, where are we now? We're in 2020, yeah. The last time I even thought and actually did promote something like this was in 2009. And weirdly, I actually saw it. I just noticed it on the shelf today, now I've just said it out loud. I'm like, oh my God, I just saw that. It was, let me see if I can do it without having everything fall off the shelf. It was this, Humanity Unites Brilliance. And this was a wonderful, wonderful project with people like Dr. Michael Beckwith. It's where, you know, seriously, it was just the most wonderful group of people. And Humanity Unites Brilliance was a humanitarian project which was personal development linked with putting in schools and irrigation systems in Africa. So this was around about 2009. So that's the last time I've done any of these kind of business building things. The time before that was probably, I don't know, around 2000 and, I don't know, what would that have been, 2005, 2006, which was Success University. And again, because I'm really into personal development, that was a natural fit for me. But it has been 11 years. And trust me when I tell you, I get contacted about things all the time. And this is the first one that I've gone, you know, when I say like I raise an eyebrow, and then you raise one or two, and then you kind of head goes to one side. It's not going to be for everyone, but I've always known about the value of gold. And the fact that gold is, I would say, you know, people say safe as houses. I would say gold is probably even more solid than the housing market. Of course, everything fluctuates, but gold tends to fluctuate upwards. So for those of you on my e-newsletter list, I sent you the invitation where you could join the live webinar. Now, from what I've just been told, I believe the link that you've got should work on a Monday, a Tuesday, and I think a Friday, but I'm going to double check that. So when I email you guys again, I will tell you the days, but my suggestion would be to have a look. It costs €0 to join, and you can buy gold for as little as €6. Seriously, and you can get the gold sent to you. So it's not like you're sending someone your money and then they're keeping it and you're wondering where your gold is. If you actually want them to send you your gold, they will send you your gold. So really excited about this one. So if you wanted any further information, drop me a line. I will not do it justice. There's too much to talk about now. And if you want the link, I'll send you the link and you can just listen in. Now, when you listen into the the Zoom webinar, it's a demo. You can be in the chat, but you're not on camera and you're not speaking. And so basically they're just delivering, end of presentation, bye, thank you very much for coming. So there's no pressure. There's nobody going to be, you know, if you like, you're in a room, you kind of know that then people are going to be coming to approach you at the end and like, oh, so I like that. I like that as well, actually. So if you want any further information about the gold investment thing where you can start from as little as €6, and they've done it that way so you can, you know, build it up cumulatively based on your income. I love that idea. I absolutely love that idea. Oh yeah, now, man, oh man, this one keeps rolling. I was listening to Gabriella Union this morning, actually, and she was describing pretty much everything in terms of how she was feeling. She said it's a daily onslaught in terms of the weight and the heaviness and the stress and the trauma and the worry and the anxiety and the confusion. That whole slide, it took me probably about 25 minutes just to put all the words on the slide that I'd got from the pre-webinar survey. And then what I did is I ran a webinar a couple of weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we actually did a clearing for that. So if you missed it, the replay is now up, and we did it about focusing around releasing deep-seated ancestral trauma. And the way that we did it, because I know that we had actually the largest demographic were people who were white, and then we had a split between Indian and Asian. And then the final demographic for there were people who are Black. And so what we've done is done it as an introductory session. So you just get a little bit more insight and appreciation to the melting pot and everything that has thus far gone into what is now a very volatile situation. And then taking what people had said during the pre-webinar survey, and also with what they were saying while they were there live on the call, we then did some HUNA, access consciousness, energy clearing. So that replay is now available. It's free of charge if you wanted to take part. So the link for that, you probably won't find it very easily on my page because it was several weeks ago. But when I get a bit of time, I will add the link underneath this video as well. What else? What else? What else? Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, somebody was asking me about the books around flexible working. It seemed like an odd topic. No, not really. This is why it's not an odd topic. It's just one that I was never speaking about in the public domain, because it's not the sort of thing that I'm normally talking about on my Facebook page, because it was one of those underground things, because the whole world wasn't remote and flexible working. It was still very niche. But I've been a flexible working implementation consultant since 2003. That means going into organizations to develop, write, and roll out flexible working, remote working, smart working, policy, strategy, etc. And that was everything from working with builders and architects and ergonomic specialists right through to working with the CEOs, leadership teams, management teams, frontline staff, and doing everything in that continuum. Now, back in the day, 17 years ago, we did not have the technology that we had today. So part of that, the company I was working with, we built a system, an IT tech system, to run the whole thing in terms of how do you measure work and work packages, right through to doing training with the staff about the psychological impact of working from home and how do you maintain a sense of productivity without burnout. So I've been doing that since 2003. So it might be a new topic that I'm talking about for you. It's not a new topic for me. So just to put that one into context. And also one of the questions, people have been asking is, how effective is coaching and training and therapy online? For me, very. I've been doing online coaching and therapy since 2005. So over the last 15 years, I've worked out the nuances of what's vital, what works, what doesn't. Because it's not just a straight out, take exactly what you do in person and just do the same thing online. It's not necessarily that straight a transition, because there are things that just don't translate very well. So I've spent the last 15 years working out those nuances. So if you're asking me, it works incredibly well, and actually sometimes even better than face-to-face. That's a whole other story. But yes, so very, very effective from my perspective. But I have been doing online coaching, online training, and online workshops for the past 15 years. So I maybe have a different experience of doing it people who are just trying to just do what they had done offline and taken that online. But in a nutshell, yes, it's very effective. So that's just to answer that one. Let's see. Yeah, and of course there's all the full online webinar expo conference facility now, where you can have your main stage and your breakout rooms and your AI powered speed networking and your sponsorship booths. Some of you joined me for the Future Life Progression Expo a couple of months ago, and I'm going to be running a few more of those as we kind of transition out of lockdown. Right, what else? Yes, so as I said, the Global Hope conference, I have got the replay recordings. haven't decided if I'm going to wait until it's syndicated out in the United States and on Apple, etc. So I'm just going to think about that one. For those of you in my membership group, what I might do is, if you want to, I think the waking meditation one would be a really nice one for sharing Saturday. So what I might do is put that on my platform and I'll share it with you guys in the membership group. But I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with the recordings, but I do now have the replay recordings. I downloaded them this morning. Right, okay, so I think that was all in terms of what's coming up and what has gone. Just double checking this just to make sure. Yeah, okay, so shall we talk a bit of lockdown love, because this one is up, the replay for this one is up now as well. And this was a really cool conversation. I really enjoyed this one. So you may or may not have heard of Carmelia Ray. But she's got several 100,000 followers, so it's likely you are one of those. But she is a celebrity matchmaker. And so I did an interview with her a couple of weeks ago and decided that we would blame, because she said, well, Marilyn, what do you do? And I said, oh my God, Carmelia, I do so many things. And I thought, rather than just do a straight out, because for the first 9 years I was in practice, I was a relationship coach. But I thought, rather than just, you know, she's talking about dating and I'm talking about coaching, I thought, let me do something a little bit different and see if we can bring together business and relationships and dating. And so what I did is I did an overlay with the photo reading, because photo reading has got 5 steps. But as I sat and I looked at the steps, I'm like, oh my goodness, actually, this is a perfect dovetailing in terms of relationships, because step 1 is you get yourself physically and mentally prepared, which is exactly what you do when you go out on a date. Step 2, you do a preview. In photo reading terms, in dating terms, you do a bit of a recce, you do some research. Step 3 is you photo read, so you're actually there in the moment taking it all in. That's exactly what happens when you're on your first date. Step 4 is the post view, where you then start doing a bit of a review. And the words I use on the photo reading training, is it a go or no go? That's exactly what people do after a first date. Do I want to go on a second date? And then the final bit is the activation, where if you decide to commit and put more time into that situation, what can you do to get the most out of it? And that's exactly, again, what happens in relationships. So I put this idea to Carmelia. She's like, great idea. So what I did is I said, right, Carmelia, this is the photo reading step. Can you explain how you do that step and some things that you really should be thinking about and doing on a date related to each of those 5 steps? So she did it brilliantly. I absolutely loved it, and we nailed it in 32 minutes and 30 minutes, because a lot, 1 minute intro, 1 minute outro. So that was fabulous. For those of you who haven't met Carmelia before, this was kind of the live stream. So if you're on her LinkedIn page or her Facebook page, you'll recognize her from that banner. And what her strapline is, I work with single entrepreneurs and business owners to find love online and offline. So perfect for being in lockdown. And her website is www.carmeliaray.com, and I'll put a link into that as well. Well, I'll put the link into the video, and then her details are underneath the video. So that's her if you haven't met her. And in terms of a little bit of her background, this blew my mind in terms of these numbers and these stats. She's interviewed over 65,000 single people on their relationship challenges. That's a mind-blowing amount of data. That is just crazy. She's helped over 7,000 clients. She's got decades worth of experience in matchmaking, in dating, and she's the kind of go-to expert. So she's been featured in a number of places like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, The Real Housewives of Toronto. She's out in Canada, OK Magazine, Cupid's Pulse, Elle. So she's got a really long list and a very impressive repertoire. So she's shared some real gems during that. And I also just have to give a shout out to Paul Carrick-Brunson, because I met Carmelia as a result of chatting with Paul. So that's where the introduction came from. So really grateful to him as well. So thank you, Paul. And that's Better with Paul. Unfortunately, the Better with Paul series has just come to an end. He announced it last week because he was doing 2 shows a week. That's now coming to an end, but he has got some new stuff coming up, and he does have an e-newsletter list at paulcbrunson.com. So if you don't already follow him, I would definitely recommend that you do so. Cool. Well, I think that is it. That is it. Anything else? Anything else? Let me think. I think better with water. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right. I'm just going to find that last one. Oh, here it is. Cool. Alrighty. With the online trainings where it's the 52% off, these are video webinar trainings. People always ask, do the healings and clearings, etc., translate online in a recording? The short answer is yes. The long answer is on your screen. And this is from one of my lovely clients, Pippa Neve, again, out in Australia. I don't know what it is about Australia. I really must go there when lockdown is over and run some trainings and run some workshops. Because the very first people to sign up for my online 3-day photo reading certification class all came from Australia. And a lot of the clients I've worked with over lockdown have come from Australia. So there's something going on there. But this is the long version in terms of do the trainings work. And I've explained this a few times on the various workshops I've done, but the short version of this is Pippa is on my e-newsletter list. Now, for those of you who are on my e-newsletter list, you will know that when I'm testing out new processes and new products, I will normally go to my list. I will ask for some free volunteers to test it out and give me feedback. Based on the feedback I get from them, I will then go and make any adjustments, add any of the suggestions that I've received, and then the product goes on sale to the general public. That's how I do it. So on this occasion, I was doing a Huna. I think this one was the higher self connection one. Pippa, because of the time difference. Now, you will know if you did the Money Breakthrough program, Pippa was up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning on all of those 10 sessions, no, bar one. And that was just because of a time change. So the timing was wrong. We went forward or back or whatever it was. And so there was a disconnect. But she's up at earlier clock to take part live. But on this occasion, she listened to the replay recording a couple of days after I'd done it. And it wasn't a video, it was an audio. So all she would have heard from the Huna was me doing the and doing the signals. No idea what's going on. And in those days, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't even really talk to people about what the symbols were. So they had no idea what they even looked like. And she sent me an email, which was very detailed, which is what you can see on the screen. And it wasn't until last year when I was explaining to the people who were taking part in the 10-part Money Breakthrough video webinar program and workshop, and I was sharing this slide, it wasn't until I started reading it, I was like, oh my goodness, Pippa is describing the order and sequence in which I did the Huna, but she would have had absolutely no idea what I was doing. All she would have heard is, and even somebody who knows Huna has no idea what those 3 symbols were I just did. You wouldn't, because we all do them at a different rate, different pace, etc. So I'm reading it and she's talking about her third eye, and I'd done something there's a symbol called the light comes forth and, pours out through the third eye. She talked about feeling compressed. There's a symbol, thunder comes down and strikes the earth and makes the earth shake. That's what she's describing there. She then says after the first round of Huna, she sensed the image of a triangle of fire. What I did after I'd opened that up and broken up the energy, as I call it, I'd used the red triangle of fire to burn away the remnants. She would have had no idea of this, because all you can hear during the process is me going, and what I'm doing is actually just in my head. I never say that out loud. And then as I continued reading after the second half, I felt the pain being drawn out of my body via my heart center. There's one that next in the protocol that I did is opening up the heart space. And then if you've done soul plan, and even if Qigong or something like that, you might have heard of sword fingers. So I was doing the sword fingers to pull the energy out, the stuck energy out. And seriously, every single thing that Pippa said is exactly what I did. And she's pretty much like, when she said I slowly began to feel lighter, my heart center opened up more than previously, I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. That's when I did the symbol, where if you see what it looks like, the sun is shining and radiating from the inside out. So that's the long version of, will you still get the benefit of this even if you're watching the video or listening to an audio? Yes, you will. So that's that. Just to cover that one. And the one-day Huna workshop is included in the 52% off for the next couple of days. So, right, I think that's it. And actually this one, while we're on the subject of Huna, this is when I was chairing and hosting the TCCHE, the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution. So on the stage there is Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton. There's 550 people in that audience. I did like 2 to 3 minutes of Huna on the first day. For the next 4 days, people were coming up, number one, describing what I had done in terms of what they felt and the order in which they felt it. And of the 100+ people that actually got a chance to speak to me, and some of them emailed me afterwards because they couldn't get to talk to me, because when I'm there, I'm busy. I'm on stage the whole time pretty much. And if I'm not on stage, I'm with the speakers and getting them ready, etc. They all had a unique experience, because that is one of the beauties of Huna. I don't drink, but I say, look, if Huna were a drink, it'll be Heineken, which refreshes the parts other beers cannot reach. And you know, migraine, back pain, confusion, you name it. I lost, and I think one of the best quotes I heard was, Huna is better than Red Bull, because a guy had flown in from Japan, got off the plane, came straight to the hotel, sat in the conference room, and we finished at 10 o'clock on the first night. So he was wrecked. And I'm standing there, and I said, hey, how have you enjoyed the day? And he said, oh, you know, it's been hard. And then he explained, I've just flown in from Japan. I'm very tired, and I may have to miss a bit of tomorrow. And I said, well, I said, would you like some energy clearing? And he had 2 colleagues with him, and he looked at each of them, and they went, and he went, okay. So standing in the room at the end of the first day, I'm like, and I probably did about 1.5 minutes. I ended it, and he went, Huna is better than Red Bull, and just walked off. Saw him the next day. How are you doing? Huna is better than Red Bull. Walks off. Saw him on the final day. Now we're 4 days in now. Well, 3 days in, and then there's an extra 4th day. He's still buzzing. So it really does almost have a kind of a life and a consciousness of its own once you give permission. So that is that one, just to answer that question as well. Right, I really think we're good now with the questions. So if you require any further information, here's how you can get hold of me. We've already had the email, marilyn@transformationstm.com, website www.transformationstm.com. For those who weren't here earlier, TRANCE, F for Freddie, so FORMATIONS, N for November, S for Sierra, NS, TM is in trademark.com. So transformationstm.com, that's the main website. My blog, marilyndevonish.com, DEV for Victor, ONISH. So marilyndevonish.com. Worst way to get hold of me is try to phone, because when I'm working, my phone is switched off. When I'm recording, my phone is switched off. When I'm doing telephone coaching, I'm on the phone. So don't even bother. You need to send an email first, and then we can arrange a time to speak. All of social media, it's / Marilyn Devonish, except for Instagram, which is the NeuroSuccess Coach. So that is how you kind of find me. Hey, Dr. Michelle McDowell. Look, you guys, she's a child psychologist. If you've been struggling with lockdown and what to do with your kids and how to keep them entertained, get hold of Dr. Michelle. She says, well done, inspirational again. Thank you so much. Lovely to have you here. Don't worry, there's a replay. That is cool. That is cool. And oh yeah, actually, just one final thing. One of the reasons why I am so passionate about personal development and transformation is because this was my profile right up until the age of 32. Quiet, shy, lacking in confidence, very low self-esteem, suicidal, living life on the outside looking in, as I would have called it. I always felt like I was a bit of a spectator. I was also diagnosed with what was thought to be early onset Alzheimer's in my early 20s. physically drained. I had 2.5 years where I was needing to sleep 12 to 15 hours a day. And even with that much sleep, I was still always tired. And pretty much all of that turned around in the space of a couple of days. The brain thing, when I got into the photo reading, that just blew my mind, quite literally, and just turned everything around. And so when I talk about change, when I talk about transformation, when I talk about clearing limiting beliefs, negative emotions, overcoming your fears and worries and anxieties, I don't say it because it sounds like a good idea and I read some good articles in a book. I say it because I lived it and breathed it. And then for the last 20 years, I've been doing exactly the same for my clients. Actually, I don't know if I can find it in a hurry. One of the clients who did my Fearless Public Speaking one-day video webinar workshop, number one, very cool. I was on holiday in the whole of July, which is not whole of July, whole of January this year. So I'm on holiday, I'm on the deck chair, and I just happened to look at my iPad, and there was a message from Rachel CK, she's lovely, saying, I've just spent the day with you. I'm like, huh? So I go, what do you mean? And then she explains that she's been taking the one-day video webinar workshop. We were talking yesterday, to hear her talk about, because she had a talk coming up, I was really nervous about it. If you go to the new Zenler site, the Fearless Public Speaking video webinar workshop, I'm just going to see if I can quickly pull it up again. I can tell you what she said. Now, where did I open that? Oh, where did it go? Zenler. Oh, I know. Here we go. I can get in that way. If I go to my own website for online personal development workshops, click here. Yes, perfect. Go to my own website to find my other website. Right, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. On the transformationstm.com website, it's a humongous site. There's a shed load of stuff on it. And there are tabs along the top, and on the front I've added a thing where you can just click straight through to this one and just put the birthday 52 in. But let me just tell you, because it was just wonderful to speak to her yesterday. Courses. Let's go to all the courses, please. Oh, thank you for my new followers. That's great. All right, here we go. Fearless Public Speaking. So that's the page there. So Rachel's quote is there. She says, for those of you who are asking me about my big talk in January, where I shared my joy that I was so happy and how it had gone, Marilyn Devonish is the awesome lady that enabled me to breathe, think, and talk all at the same time. And now you can do it too, because of course it's an online workshop. But there's a fabulous picture of Rachel sort of on stage that you'll see, and now there is no stopping her. She's running workshops, she's planning a podcast, has asked me if I'll be on as a guest. And so the transformation and turnaround is real. All you need to do is invest and come in with an open mind and just do what is being offered, and the rest, as they say, is history. So and Rachel took that course with no intervention from me, physical intervention, because I was in Gran Canaria on a deck chair. She was wherever she lives in the Midlands, in that direction, and took the whole workshop on her own, and then went out and completely smashed it and has continued to do so. So that is absolutely fantastic. Hi, Asima. Thank you for joining me. Asima says, very inspired, Marilyn, enjoying your presentation. Cool. Fab. Brilliant. Well, I think that's enough from me from one afternoon. That's the complete roundup. Sometimes I'm doing this and I'm going, right, I'm going to do an individual video just for that and an individual video just for that. And then I look at my schedule and go, I don't think so. So thank you for watching. I know that we have people around the globe. Thank you also if you're watching this as the replay. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, if you're watching this on Facebook, of course, put them in the comments. If you're watching this as a YouTube video, put those in the comments. And if I do add this to my Dub platform, then there's a way that you can actually press a button and actually leave me a video message as well. So yeah, any questions, any queries, drop them in. If you're going to the Zenler site for the 52% off, you've got a couple more days left, and it's birthday 52. That is the code that you need. I'm just kind of whizzing through. There we go. So birthday 52, go to www.transformationstm.newzenler.com, choose the course or courses that you want, add birthday 52, and that will take 52% off the price if it's not already showing as a strike through. So that's the way to do it. But cool. Any questions, any queries, I'll leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a fabulous time. Oh, heads up. For those of you in the United Kingdom, on Wednesday, it's going to be 29 degrees, 26 degrees on Tuesday, if the app holds true, because I know these things can change. So 26 degrees on Tuesday, 29 degrees on Wednesday. So I know where I'm going to be, Cassiobury Park, once I finish all my coaching sessions. Really looking forward to it. And I'm telling you, I just did a very quick segment on the Jeremy Vine show a couple of weeks ago, and they had a doctor there. And so you submitted your questions in advance, and then they choose who they want to have on the live show. So it's a telephone thing. And I posed my question about the importance of vitamin D during COVID-19 and the lockdown, because my suspicion was that lack of vitamin D would add to the problem that people are having with regards to their health. So I posed my question, and she was like, "Oh, Marilyn, that is the best question." And she agreed with me. So I would say, if you haven't been getting much sunshine and you are in the United Kingdom and you're not back at work yet, please adjust your schedule so that you can go out on Tuesday, go out on Wednesday, and actually get yourself some natural sunlight, because vitamin D is so important. And if you think to back in the day, have an apple, go out and get some fresh air when you're recovering. And that's the one thing that the whole world has been missing and not getting as much of, because even just, on your day-to-day, going to work, going to the supermarket, all of that was really kind of scaled back pretty much 100% almost, because a lot of people just started shopping online. So I would definitely say, make the most of the sunshine. Asima, which website do you want again? Tell me which website you want again, and I'll say it again. So yeah, tell me which one. Tell me which one, and I can call it up on here before I go. Da, 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 da. And while you're typing, I'll read the Rachel's bigger piece. So it says, for those of you who are asking me about my big talk in January and shared my joy that I was so happy how it had gone, Marilyn Devonish is the awesome lady that enabled me to breathe, think, and talk all at the same time. Now you can do it too. Whether you get nervous in social settings, on social media, speaking in one-to-one settings, small groups, or big stages, these techniques work. I'm tapping into what I learned almost every day now, ... What's holding you back from sharing your passions or knowledge? Rachel CK, educator, natural life coach, awesome mama, and oil lover. She's the bath butler queen and the oily queen. So if you're into aromatherapy, check her out. But you can read her testimonial and see her on stage in action on the Zenler page. Yes, so it is So yes, it's the if you go to the transformationstm.com, and yes, you have it absolutely right, TRANCEFORMATIONSTM.com. So yeah, if you go to the Transformations website, on the home page, let me one sec, I can see all my fingerprints on it now, so they're going to reflect in the sun as I've been fiddling here. If you go to the home page, what you're going to see is this image here with the screens, and then there are 3 links underneath. So one of them says, for further information about flexible and remote working, click here. That's going to take you to the new flexible working .brizzy.site where I'm just starting to pull together some public information for smart and remote and flexible working. It then says, for online personal development courses and workshops, click here. That will take you to the Zenler page, which is the 52% off for the next couple of days. And then it says, for online coaching and therapy, click here. And what that will do, it will take you to my online booking page, where that's if you, let's say, wanted to book a HUNA session or a breakthrough session, etc., etc. It's all there. during lockdown, because my diary was so crazy with the newspaper, writing the newspaper articles and the media interviews and the Zoom interviews and all the rest of it, my calendar is no longer synced with that calendar because things were just changing too fast. So when people have booked, I'll then check my calendar. If I'm free on what they've selected, yeah, sure, we'll do it. If not, then I'll come back to you with some alternatives. But those are the 3 ways that you can find information. But go to the Main Transformations website, look for, in the middle of the screen, that 3D image, and then click on the link under that. So hopefully that has answered your question. Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing all of you a fabulous, wonderful, amazing weekend, wonderful rest of June, and let us see what July has in store. And actually, for those of you in the membership group, because I do Tarot Tuesday, where I do individual tarot readings for anyone who wants one, and then I did a tarot reading for the month ahead. I'm actually now very curious to go back and see what I said, because we've had some uncanny stuff, and I will do a reading at the beginning of July for the month ahead, so I can't wait to see what comes out of my mouth for that one as well. Very cool. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the wonderful comments and the thumbs up. And if you know someone who could benefit from some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, feel free to share the link, feel free to share the video. That would be amazing. And again, if you come across anyone who's looking for a coach, trainer, someone to come in and run workshops, be that remotely or when lockdown is over in person, feel free to make an introduction and give them my contact details. Cool. Catch you all later.